Welcome into Rise the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And Grant Mitchell is not here. He is still sick, so send him a message if you can and wish him well. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room, how we doing? It's a great day. It's Wednesday, and we're preparing for the Thursday night football slate. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have the Minnesota Vikings coming off a terrible loss to the Buccaneers facing the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles have something to prove, I think, after last week's game against the Patriots, where New England literally tried to lose the game about 10 times, and the Eagles just couldn't put them away. Obviously, they found a way to win late, but the Patriots were on the 10-yard line going in. If they scored in that final drive, they would have won the game because time would have been too little for the Eagles to go down the field and score and get the comeback there. So both teams coming in this one with something to prove. We're going to break it all down here on Ride the Line. But before we do that, remember to follow the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit us up on social, do it all. The TikTok page is absolutely blowing up right now. A couple million view videos, couple 100,000, 200,000 view videos. So go check out what we're doing over there, having a lot of fun. And then Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff, or X as we should say now. But there's a lot of good stuff going on our social pages. All those are linked in the description below. You can find my handles down there as well as Grant. So let's break down a little bit of what happened on Monday night. We got to go over some of our picks, how we did. Did pretty well. I don't remember how Grant did necessarily. I know he did not have the Jets, and probably for good reason. New York basically was given that game by Buffalo, but we had the under. We both had the under. That was our main play there, and that cashed with ease. Both defenses were very good. The New York Jets shut down Josh Allen, and Josh Allen now has a turnover problem. It's official. I don't know what happened to him. I feel like he forgot how to play football, honestly. He's turning the ball over like crazy. It's nothing that the Jets did, and it's honestly their good defense, but Josh Allen was careless with the football in crunch time. All he had to do, and I'm happy about it because I had the New York Jets, but all Josh Allen had to do was not turn the ball over and give the New York Jets good field position, because Zach Wilson was not going to drive the field. All they were trying to do was Zach Wilson run, quick game on third down, get off the field, punt, play field position. They were just trying to win the field position battle and hopefully put themselves in a position to win the game, which they did. But when you look at the New York Jets, right now, Zach Wilson's their guy. I think they're going to be okay. I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm not saying to bet them at plus 6,000 or 7,000 right now to win the Super Bowl. They were 1,600. They're down to 70 to 1. I am saying, though, I think they're going to be okay. Like this weekend against the Dallas Cowboys, I would probably lean towards the Cowboys at minus 8.5 just because I'm not super comfortable with how the Jets are on offense. But we look at what they did against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are a very good defensive team. New York found ways to win because they won the field position battle. And if that defense can force turnovers like they did against Josh Allen, Dak Prescott also has a turnover problem. I don't think anyone's talking about that just because he threw for 170 yards and he was not efficient though through the air. It was all because of the Dallas Cowboys defense. That's the reason they beat the Giants. So it's going to be two good defensive battles. That's why the total is set at 40.5 there. So there's a lot of issues with this Jets team offensively, but they do have weapons. You have Garrett Wilson. You have a very good running game with Breece Hall. You have an okay offensive line, not the best offensive line in the world, but that defense is elite. So I do think the Jets are still going to be a reputable football team if Zach Wilson can just take care of the football, which he showed an ability to do in his last game. So that was a positive sign there. Going on to the Bills, Josh Allen has an issue. I think he misses Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator. That's been clear. He has not been the same quarterback since Brian Daboll left. He's turned the ball over a lot more. He's not going through his reads. He's taken off and running too quick. He's forcing the football into holes that he probably can't get it into. So there's just a lot of negatives going on with the Buffalo Bills. So I think right now, if you look at this division, it's the Miami Dolphins division to lose. And it's going to be a very interesting game on Sunday night when the Dolphins come to Foxborough. We'll talk about that on Friday's show. But today, we got to talk about this Thursday night football game. So odds courtesy of DraftKings here. Let's get into it. We have Kirk Cousins in primetime. I don't have Kirk Cousins primetime numbers, but I'll tell you this, they're not good. So right now, let's see what we got. Thursday night football. Do they have the game up here? Let's see, week 2, right there. All right, so Eagles are laying a touchdown at home here. It was 7.5. It's since shifted down to 7. A lot of people are all over the Minnesota Vikings. That's why the spread has gone down. But the interesting thing here is that more money is coming in on the Philadelphia Eagles to cover the spread, I believe, when you look at the splits here. If we look at the splits on DraftKings right now, 63% of the bets and 64% of the handle is on the Philadelphia Eagles to cover, but the line still shifted down from 7 to 7.5. So that's an interesting sign right there, something to keep in mind. When it comes to the total, 61% of the money and 52% of the bets are on the over of 49 right now. And then also another interesting part of this game, the money line plus 270 for the Minnesota Vikings. 37% of the bets, but 53% of the handle is on the Minnesota Vikings to win outright here. So they're currently getting more money on DraftKings to win this game. Now, obviously, these will change as we get closer to kickoff here, but right now, as of Wednesday morning at 8:16 a.m., the time we're recording right now, the Minnesota Vikings have more money on them to win this game. People like the plus money. Anything can happen in the NFL. But based on what I saw from Minnesota, I don't think they can win this game. I'm not saying they can't cover. A touchdown's a lot, but I don't think they can win this game. And I think back to last year. I want to look at the Vikings 2022 schedule last year when they did play the Minnesota Eagles in primetime. I bet on the Vikings in this game. I did. I bet on the Vikings in this game. It was very sad. All right, so they played at the Philadelphia Eagles week 2 last year. They lost 24-7. Kirk Cousins was absolutely horrendous in this football game, as he's been in pretty much every primetime game. Let's see if I can find it. Kirk Cousins, 27 of 46 for 221 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He was sacked twice. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles defense is definitely not as strong as it was last year. They lost their defensive coordinator. They lost some big-name players. And I do think Kirk Cousins should have more success. But based on his history in primetime games, he is not the quarterback to trust in this spot by any means. For the Philadelphia Eagles, though, they did look shaky on the offensive side of the ball. A big reason for that was Jalen Hurts. Didn't protect the football, didn't have this offense clicking, and he faced a very good defense in the New England Patriots. We're not going to see that same caliber of defense. So I think the Eagles have the advantage right there. When we look at the defensive numbers, now these are based on coldhardfootballfacts.com, awesome source for all your betting needs. We look at the Minnesota Vikings in this game, and these are the numbers based off last week, ranked amongst the NFL. They faced a very average Buccaneers offense. Let's just put it like that. Baker Mayfield didn't do anything special. He found a way to win. He's a gritty quarterback, but he's not lighting up the stat sheet by any means. The Minnesota Vikings ranked 27th in defensive real quarterback rating. So that's how they defend all aspects of quarterback play. 21st in defensive passer rating. Not very good. 5th in defensive hog index. They did do a good job against the run. But offensively, they couldn't run the ball against the Buccaneers. They really struggled. They struggled getting the deep ball necessarily. They weren't getting the big chunk plays outside of some stuff to Justin Jefferson. I like Jefferson to have a big night. But other than that, I don't see the Minnesota Vikings keeping up in this game. So I know everyone's all over Minnesota per se. That's why the spread's dropping. I know there's more money coming on Philly, but a lot of people think Minnesota can cover in this game. I'm not so sure. I'm going to go with what I know here. And what I know is that the Philadelphia Eagles are a better football team. They beat them up in primetime last year. Kirk Cousins in primetime isn't good. And I don't think the Minnesota defense can contain Jalen Hurts and company for an entire game. So I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the best thing to do for this game, honestly, parlay it with something or do a 6-point teaser. Take the Eagles down to -1. I see them winning this game. It might be close. It might be by a field goal, but I think this is a very good teaser spot for another game that you could pair it with. So if we want to talk 6-point teaser real quick, I'll take the Philadelphia Eagles at -7 here. And you could tease it with a bunch of different games. I think teasing the Falcons up to 7.5 against the Packers at home is a good move. There's a lot of money coming in on Green Bay there. They went from -1 to -1.5. I wouldn't touch anything in the Buccaneers-Bears game. I would take the Seahawks up to +11.5 against the Detroit Lions. I could see that being a viable betting option. The Raiders +9.5 right now. I could take them up to 15.5. I think giving them 2 touchdowns, even on the road at Buffalo, is still a decent deal. They're going to play clock control, and they're going to try to control the time possession in that football game. There's a lot of good 6-point teaser options this week. I mean, even I don't love it, but Jaguars at home at +9 against the Chiefs, especially if Travis Kelce isn't that healthy or if he doesn't play, I think that's a viable betting option. Giants to win -6. You can take that down from -6 to just a pick'em game. So again, there's a lot of options. I think 6-point teaser is probably the way to go in this football game, just because it's a questionable line on each side. I will probably be leaning into a lot of props in this game, possibly the total. When I look at the total here, last year's game stayed under. That was when Philadelphia was still finding their groove on offense. I think we're going to see the same thing. I think it's going to take them a little time to get going in this football game. So I'm going to play the under as well. I think there's 2 high-powered offenses, but primetime games are always a spot for unders. Primetime unders have been massive over the years. And then when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles too, they still are elite on defense. You have Kirk Cousins in primetime. Minnesota, outside of the deep ball of Justin Jefferson, I don't know how good their offense is going to be. Yeah, Madison run the football I think the Eagles are very good in the front seven. We saw that. They're ranked 12th in defensive hog index currently, according to Cold Hard Football Facts. That's going to continue to creep down. They're going to be a top 10 football team in that regard. And they find ways to win. And that's the bottom line. This is a gritty football team. I really like what they're doing up front. I don't think they have any defensive props up yet for this game. Let me check it out. Do we have some defensive props? No defensive props up for this game. But Jalen Carter up the middle, I think he's going to just cause nightmares for this Minnesota Vikings team. There's a reason they're a 7-point favorite. I think it's going to be tight. Again, 6-point teaser is the way to go. And then I'm going to play the under 48.5 or 49. I believe it's dipped from 49 to 48.5. When it comes to prop picks, there's a few that you could look at in this game. I think the number one being for receiving props, definitely keep it simple. Justin Jefferson over 94.5. This is a very high number, but Jefferson is a guy that's going to make plays. He did it against Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. I still think he can do it against Philadelphia Eagles. There's going to be a point in this game, I think, where the Minnesota Vikings are playing from behind, and it's going to force them to just throw the ball down the field. Justin Jefferson is a huge benefactor. If Kirk Cousins puts it in the area that he is, Justin Jefferson can go get it. So that's a thing to look at there. Jefferson over 94.5. Don't necessarily love it. Could be a good parlay piece, though, if you dripped it down a little bit. The only reason I don't necessarily love it, like love it, because it's 94.5. It's a lot of yards. But if anyone can get 100 in this game, it's him, and he can do it like that. Another pick that I like, Dallas Goedert over 46.5 yards. This number has continued to creep up. I believe it opened around mid-40s or low 40s. When you look at Goedert, he's a tight end that didn't do a lot last week, and I think he's due for a big bounce back week. There were many times where he was wide open. Jalen Hurts just couldn't find him down the field. They didn't connect. I think he is going to have a massive day, especially when you look at the Minnesota Vikings right now. Defensive real quarterback rating, they're ranked 27th against Baker Mayfield. If they couldn't contain Baker Mayfield last week, they are not going to be able to contain Jalen Hurts this week. I think Hurts is due for a big bounce back spot, and the way he's going to be able to do that is by finding Dallas Goedert down the field. AJ Brown, just combined Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. I'd lean towards Devontae Smith over 63.5 more than I would for AJ Brown at 75.5. Again, I think those guys would be right around that number. Jordan Addison, 39.5. I don't think the big plays coming like we saw last week, so stay away there. So my two primary props, I would say, would be primary receiving props. Justin Jefferson over 94.5. Dallas Goedert over 46.5. I think touchdown scorer bets could be the way to go in this one too. Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. I could see that happening. Justin Jefferson plus 110. Again, those are just really high. Like the odds aren't great for those, so I don't necessarily love them. I think Dallas Goedert plus 210 could be a decent move there to find the end zone. But if I'm looking at some long shot guys that I potentially like, Philadelphia defense at plus 360, that's not a bad bet. KJ Osborne or a Jordan Addison even at plus 220. I mean, those are three. Obviously, the defense isn't a person, but those are three picks that I could see just for a little better odds there. I do think this game's going under, so if you are picking touchdown scorer bets, definitely be limited. But Dallas Goedert, probably to pair that with his receiving yards, potentially Jordan Addison as a long shot, and then KJ Osborne and Philadelphia defense. I could see Kirk Cousins getting picked off and the ball going for 6 the other way. So those would be some of my plays if you're looking for some long shot touchdown score bets. First touchdown score, I'm going to say Jalen Hurts at plus 550. Get around the goal line, give it to Hurts. There's so many ways that they're going to try to neutralize the Minnesota Vikings. We saw it last year in primetime. I think we're going to see it this year in primetime. So that's what we're going with, guys. I'm going to lay the points with the Philadelphia Eagles. My main play there, though, if I had to give you one, I would say tease this 6-point teaser, take it down, and pair it with something else this week. If you need anything to pair it with, just drop a comment. We can try to help you there. Under 48.5 primetime unders. I don't think Minnesota's going to score a lot in this game. I think the Eagles could put up a lot of points, but we saw it last year. Game went under with ease. And then for the props, all over Dallas Goedert stuff. I like Justin Jefferson a little bit, but Dallas Goedert would be my main guy that I'm going with and betting on in multiple aspects in this football game. So that was our Thursday night football preview. Grant will be back on Friday, I'm assuming, to talk about Sunday games. This was a great day. This was a great show, and we appreciate you listening, guys. Make sure you follow us, subscribe to the channel, head over to social, check us out there. It's a great day to have a day, people, and good luck betting on the Thursday night game. We'll see you next time for another episode of Ride Line.